Alright, so I alluded to this briefly in my last video, but how aggressive, there's this whole range of how aggressive people are in investing in their business and, betting on themselves, if you will. So back in the day when I started my roofing business, it was a Conklin roofing business, so commercial roof coatings. And, there was all the hype around how much money you can make with this business. And, it was potentially you could make $2,000 a day or, $1,000 a day on a bad day of profit, And this was going to be great. So I hadn't been doing very good in my inside sales job for a shed company. And so, kind of getting with that career path, kind of getting sidelined or not working well for me. I decided to make this switch to be self-employed and to kind of jump feet first into this roofing business. Now, mind you, I didn't have a roofing experience. I did not have. I had a little bit of construction experience, but I didn't have maybe what you would call like a construction background. Didn't have family members that were. I didn't grow up in a construction family and all that stuff. So, but I jumped in, and even though I didn't have a lot of cash reserves, in fact, pretty well no cash reserves, probably, if the truth must be told, I jumped in. My upline, he sold me a used sprayer, I think it was, or maybe it was one of his boys. I don't remember who I bought it from. And so I had a coating sprayer of my own. And anyway, so I jumped in. I spent the thousands of dollars, I believe, on some postcards, and I also went out. Maybe my upline helped me on that too. I'm not quite sure on that. I went out and knocked on business doors and left brochures. And I was not. I think if I would have been brilliant, if I would have loved cold calling, I think I might have made a go of that business, but I didn't. I would have much preferred to depend on digital marketing and stuff like that, and we were not able to really get that to work very cost effectively, and so my business was very kind of hit or miss on the quantity and all that stuff. And anyway, just a lot of challenges, a lot of learning, my first real business venture. And I made some, in hindsight, some fairly aggressive moves, I would say, in terms of investment, how I invested in the business, invested in the advertising, the marketing side, and how I invested in even myself and the learning and education or strategies for marketing, whatever. And anyway, so when it kind of fizzled, we ended up with some real experience and a lot of debt. And to us, well, it was a lot of debt. And so I started to value, more reliable income a lot more. And I also probably put a higher value on doing something that I enjoyed. Now, the roofing was not bad as far as I enjoyed the challenge and the potential of it, but the actual work itself, I don't love sweating it out on a roof day after day. So, that was a downside to some of that. It was a lot of manual labor too. But, there are plenty of people out there who make a great living with that business, and it's entirely possible. I do think my market here, and this might just be making excuses, but I do think it's in Texas. They're kind of over coatings, if you will. So I don't know. The market didn't seem highly receptive here. But there again, like I said, I didn't love cold calling. If I had a real knack for it, I think it might have been a go. So now going into my marketing business, now instead of a $30,000 contract, I've got a $300 project or whatever. This was back in 2018, 2017, maybe when it started. And so it's like a really different approach. some of my hourly work I was still getting paid pretty decent for what I thought an hourly work would be, but no $2,000 days, I guess, in the marketing business back in those days. So I became much more conservative. We worked on getting rid of our debt. We had some help from family. We, I don't know how God all worked it out, but eventually we're able to get rid of our debt and kind of have a bit of a clean slate again, if you will. But in all of that, now with my current marketing business, I've probably, in terms of if you compare things I invested in with an uncertain outcome in the roofing business versus how much I've invested of similar risk level in my current business, it's probably still even though I've been doing the marketing for a lot longer, probably I've spent maybe a tenth, or something like that on sort of high risk investment, or maybe even less. I don't know. I have spent very little money on my own advertising, and I spent some, but just not very much. And that's one thing I may be changing here in the future, is how much I'm spending on my own marketing, because I really do want to work on my own funnel, my own growth. But I'm just thoughtful about how aggressively I pulled away from being aggressive in terms of investing in my business. And so I don't know. I don't think there's any right single answer for how aggressively you should grow your company, how aggressively you should invest in it. I think those are very personal decisions based on, how God is leading you, what you envision for your company, what your risk tolerance is. I think coming out of that first business, I think I kind of developed a fairly low risk tolerance, if you will. It's and I just, I wanted things to be sustainable, and I was okay with a slower rise if it meant that I could avoid some of the traps and pitfalls that I'd experienced the first time around. So, but yeah, I'm thoughtful that maybe I've been not aggressive enough now, that I should have invested or should be investing more than I am, or taking bigger risks or bigger swings, or that maybe at some point I will want to or need to do that. So it is, I think, fundamentally, I think product market fit is, if there's one silver bullet to business, it's product market fit. And if you don't have that, you can throw all the marketing at it that you want. You can throw all the culture and team and everything at it that you want. Although you could maybe make a case that culture and team can figure out the product market fit if this doesn't exist. But if product market fit does not exist and you can't get it to exist, and then it's just bad news for the business. And so I think that, for me, I think probably one of my next priorities is to pick a niche and to validate, to verify that I do have a really good product market fit, or at least satisfactory product market fit. And that's what you want to, ideally, that's what you want to do before you start dumping in bucket loads of marketing money. And but yeah, if I can figure out a niche where I've got really good product market fit, and it's one that it has the profitability to support growth, and then I'd love to grow it substantially and really take things to a different level and really change my business substantially from where it is now. So anyway, we've been blessed over the last year or two, that how shall we say, the cost of living has gone up so much that it's pretty amazing. But what is also amazing is how that God has provided for us, and that we're able to, that my income has also increased. So that is definitely a big blessing. And there is a certain flexibility or a certain potential, like the difference between being employed and having like maybe a 5% increase on an annual basis or something like that. If you do a great job and maybe get 5% more. The difference between that and like the jumps you can have when you're self-employed is like really different. So even though I've had very lean years self-employed, still the opportunity there for there to be that difference in how rapidly income can rise, to me, is still one of the strong selling points for being self-employed. So anyway, I guess technically now that I'm taxed as an S-corp, I guess I'm not self-employed anymore, right? Depending how you define self-employed. But anyway, there are some of my musings on, and there's some of my past history, at least, on how aggressive I've been in pursuing business growth and investing in my company. I will say also it's been just fascinating to watch the different approaches that some of my different clients have, because some of them are extremely conservative, and I recently ran across a kind of a partner to one of my clients who, because of how things were set up, he kind of got into a position where he kind of, to make everything cool and fair and whatever, he used advertising for a little bit. But his, based on early indicators, his business could grow massively through advertising. But I don't think he really wants to grow his business that much. He's at a nice level where it's at. He's kind of retirement age, and he's by certainly not doing growth at all costs. And then you have other people who are like, or other of my clients. Now I'm trying to think if I have any that's like super aggressive right now. I probably don't any, but in the past I've had some that were that their mode was very much growth mode, and it was like, yeah, we gotta, let's be profitable enough that we don't like actually sink the ship, but we're willing to white knuckle this baby for a while because we want to grow this thing, and so as an advertiser, of course, I enjoy working with people who are more aggressive, because it just allows you to optimize better and to learn faster and all that stuff when you've got bigger budgets. But at the same time, I do want my clients to be having sustainable campaigns. I do want them to be profitable, and I do want them to, not hate the experience of advertising because it's sucking so much cash out of their business. I want it to be something that gives them a good feeling and an investment that they want to keep doing for the long term. So anyway, just so fascinating to observe, one person's aggressive marketing spend is another person's like, that's nothing marketing spend. And so it's just fascinating how different, different people view the way they invest in their business.